Welcome to the Watts Wellness Podcast. My name is Corey Watts.
And my name is Sanchia Watts.
Based in Perth, Western Australia, both of us have been on our own self-development journeys for many years now, which has led to this moment.
The intention behind the Watts Wellness Podcast is to help you meet yourself deeply as you navigate your own human experience.
Become present in this moment.
Take a deep belly breath.
And be open to receiving this week's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Watts Wellness Podcast. Super excited to be back here today. And as always, I'm joined by my sister, Sanchia.
What's up, guys? How we feeling?
How's everyone feeling out there? We hope everyone's going well. It is the first day of January at this point. It isn't for us right now, with all honesty, but we wanted this episode to come out on the first day of the new year because it is all about manifestation. And Sanchia, it's a topic that the listeners have been dying to hear a little bit about for some time.
They have. We had a few questions early days about, can you talk about the law of attraction and manifestation and how you've done it and blah, 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 blah. Now we're here and we're ready to share our tips and tricks, and I can't wait to get into this.
Yeah, such a good time as well. I think a lot of the time we set New Year's resolutions and all sort of stuff coming in the New Year's, but there isn't a lot of framework around it, and it is no wonder why sometimes we don't achieve everything that we set out to achieve for the year. So hopefully you can use this podcast to maybe refine some of those New Year's resolutions that you made last night, or just sort of dive into what you're thinking for this year, and maybe you haven't made them yet, and this will inspire you to get some. So we're excited. But as always, Sanchia, strength and a challenge.
My strength has been, I did go to a music festival last weekend, and I had so much fun. I just needed a bit of a shake up and a circuit breaker. And
Spilt milk?
Yeah, spilt milk. It was probably the best festival I've ever been to. Not going to lie. I was with beautiful people, beautiful friends.
Really?
Great music.
Better than Beyond the Valley?
Yeah,
Ooh.
100%. It was so good.
Yeah, wow, okay.
It was so good. It was just the light show, everything. It was amazing. We love a dance. We love a boogie. Shakes up a lot. And it just kind of gave me a boost of energy for the start of the week, honestly. I actually didn't feel zonked after it. I felt super inspired and like I'd shifted a lot, which was great.
Charged, moving the body, dancing, getting in the feminine.
Yes, intentional dancing, intentional raving. I'm all about it. I'm so about it. It's honestly the best. So that was definitely a strength. I also ran a masterclass this week as well, which went really, really well. That was on Zoom, and it was beautiful to connect with women, and we sort of did a wrap up of the year. So if people didn't do like a little wrap up of last year, you probably should do that too. Look at what really worked well for you in 2023 and what was a challenge, and then what lessons did you learn from those challenges. It's good to unpack that and just get a bit of clarity on last year. And then my challenge for this week so far has probably been time management, and I definitely am feeling pretty drained now in the last day or two. It's like I really am ready for a break. So that's probably been my challenge, just sort of trying to manage my energy levels. And, you know, it was 12 hours on the laptop on Wednesday when I was busy designing that whole masterclass. But feeling good. Ready for a little break over Chrissy and ready to chat manifestation today.
Yeah, love it. Unreal.
You?
Me at the moment. Ooh. Okay, well, the challenge has been I have failed my 100 days of ice bars, which is not ideal. So that's a little bit sad. But it actually is going to lead well into today a little bit, and what I'm going to talk a bit about later is just tangible outcomes. I think 100 days of ice bars straight is pretty tricky with my lifestyle, just due to the fact that I'm in and out of the house. Some people may see that as an excuse, but I've still been having cold showers and stuff every day, which, you know, has meant I've been doing cold therapy every day, but it's just not to the level that I'd originally set out to do. So a good one will be for me that I will, you know, you'll all be happy to hear that I think I'm going to restart the challenge from today actually, and it's just going to be I want to get in the ice bath for at least 2 minutes this year for at least 365 times. So that may mean doubling up in a couple of days if I miss a day or whatever it is. But
that's even bigger than 100 days of ice baths though.
It is, but I think it's tangible now because, you know, there's going to be times when I'm away or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And it's been done. There's a guy on TikTok. You should go look him up. I actually don't know his name, but I'll chuck it in the notes. He's done 365 days of ice baths, and it's actually super inspiring. Like the dedication, unreal. So that's been my challenge, getting through that one. But it is what it is. I think the strength for me though has been actually just unwinding for a bit and surrendering to the process a bit. I've had a lot of goals and stuff leading into the back end of the year. Obviously, you guys will be hearing this a little bit later than what we're speaking about now, but I had a lot of stuff coming into the back end of the year that was kind of stressing me out, and I've just sort of surrendered to it, allowed it to go, you know what, I'm doing everything that I need to do to get where I need to be. Everything's on a schedule, and I'm sort of putting away that instant gratification that I'm probably searching for and just allowing myself to go, you know what, trust the process. It's cliche, but it's so true time and time again. So that's been my strength. Well, I'm super excited for this because it's something I've been wanting to talk about for some time now. Be careful of your foot not to hit our whiteboard over because that'll be tickets. But manifestation, it's such a big topic. We have had a crack at this one before and just found it a little bit tricky, but I think now with some of the work that we've been doing over the past couple of months, it's become a little bit clearer in our minds what our sort of thoughts and stance is on the matter. So I think I probably want to start off by asking you, Sanchia, probably some of your manifestation stories within life, and let's have a bit of a chat. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
There's one that comes to mind, but I'm not going to lead the witness. I'm going to let you take it from there.
Yeah. So manifestation, it's obviously something that I think a lot of people know about, they've heard about. There's definitely been an up and coming rise in the whole manifestation topic over the last few years. But I think it's almost become somewhat maybe like superficial.
Mainstream. It's a little bit of a throwaway line, like, oh, manifest this, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
oh. And I definitely think that we're all manifesting daily. Everyone's manifesting anything daily. And that is because I think, you know, obviously your thoughts create your reality. And I suppose when I think about my own manifestation story, probably the earliest memory that I have of manifesting something was when I was like 5 years old. And we had this babysitter called Sarah, and she had a mole on her neck. And I loved Sarah.
Is this the one that I got my eye scratched that one time?
I think so. I'm not sure. But she was like the coolest babysitter. I just idolized her as a young child. I just thought she was so cool. And she had this mole on her neck. And I was like, wow, I really want a mole on my neck. And I used to tell Mum before going to bed, I really want a mole like Sarah. Do you remember this?
No. I'm kind of trying to picture Sarah. I remember her as a baby. Is this at Bayview?
Street, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Bayview.
No, Key Street.
Okay, so I don't remember this.
Super
but
early.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So I must have been like maybe 3 or 4.
So I would have been like 2.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Sarah was like an incredible babysitter. I loved her. She had a mole on her neck and I really, really wanted one. And I told Mum, I really want a mole like Sarah. Yeah, it's funny now, but as a kid, like you want to be like the people that you love. Like you want to fit in and you just adore those people so much that you want to be them. And this is how manipulative we are from those early ages. Like
Imprint periods, whatnot.
Yeah, the imprint period is huge. Anyway, woke up one day, maybe a year later, Sarah probably wasn't in the picture as much anymore. I think we had a new babysitter come in, but I still miss Sarah and wanted the mole. And I woke up and I had a mole on my neck, guys. It grew. And did you know this?
I didn't know this, yeah.
Well, no one in our family has moles. Mum doesn't, Dad doesn't. It's not a genetic thing, and it's in the exact same spot that Sarah's was in.
Yeah, right.
That is wild to me.
That is really interesting.
And Mum was like shocked. She could not believe it. She was like, oh my gosh, this child has manifested a mole. And like, this is how powerful thoughts really are. And I truly believed and craved and wanted and just adored the idea of having that. And then I let it go and then it popped up.
Yeah, super interesting.
It's crazy.
I think there'd be a lot of people out there going like, oh, like that's just a coincidence or whatever it is. But there's another really good story.
There's no such thing as coincidences.
There's another really good story about, I'm going to really brush over this and not probably do it justice, but there's a doctor that had got into an accident and he pretty much was a paraplegic from like the neck down. But because he was a doctor, he knew what the surgery or what the recovery process had to look like for the spine. So he spent days on days on days meditating and envisioning like the spine getting repaired, like going through the whole entire process of how that would look, how it would get repaired. I think today he's like running marathons and like doing all sorts of stuff. And yeah, he speaks about it on on Gaia. It's a Gaia episode, I believe, that they talk about this. That's like a streaming platform for holistic sort of like docos and stuff like that. But yeah, super interesting story. I'll try and link it in the show notes. I'll find it and get it, because that's a really good sort of link to what you're talking about there. And it goes beyond just luck, I suppose.
Yeah.
So continuing.
The thoughts just definitely shape your reality. What you put out, you get back. Law of attraction, you have to give to get, cause and effect. If you're thinking negative thoughts, you're going to attract negative outcomes. And the other manifestation story, I mean, I have so many, but probably the most recent one was my trip in Europe this year. I really didn't think I was going to go until maybe a month prior to actually leaving. And that all came about so rapidly, but it was just easy. Like the doors opened once I decided, okay, I do want to go and I want to be there and I am going. And once I decided that, like flight tickets became cheaper. Everything just began to flow. And then I got over there, and all the accommodation that I had to book separate from my girlfriends, they ended up having a spare bed at all their spots, and it just flowed. It was just absolutely meant to be. And I also have had this infatuation with sailing from a really, really young age, to be honest. Our uncle had a yacht. And then I've watched Sailing Le Vagabond on YouTube. I'll give them a shout out. If you guys haven't watched them, you definitely should. And adore their videos and just love that lifestyle. And so the idea and the concept of sailing and living on a yacht was already in my mind. And then I got to Europe and I actually met someone who needed an extra person on a chartering company. And it turned out to be the brother-sister company of Sailing Le Vagabond. So they do charters in Europe. So I got invited to attend, and that was surreal because I obviously had said to the girls when I was traveling with them for a month, I really want to get on a yacht. I think we need to do it. We ended up getting on a few yachts when we were in Greece together. So I already had a bit of like a sense of what it would feel like to actually be on a yacht and sailing in Europe. And then that opportunity came about, which was just insane. And then 1 week of sailing turned into 2, and then 2 weeks turned into 3, and it was just incredible. But I think, the thoughts that you project out into the universe definitely come back to you tenfold when you believe you're worthy and deserving of them.
Yeah, so cool.
What about you? What is some of your manifestation stories?
I think for me, they would probably come back to things with just sport and stuff along the way. So different opportunities, and I think making sporting teams as well. I think aside from that, actually, one of the ones would be probably my partner now. I remember telling you like criteria and stuff for like what I wanted in a partner, and I've definitely attracted that into my life at this point. I think what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about from there was just, do you think that manifestation is just goal setting essentially? And if not, like what are the differences and stuff within that?
Yeah, so I think goal setting is really important, and I think it's important for everyone to have goals, but I do think it's slightly different to manifestation. Manifestation is really about, I think before you get into this, you have to recognize that everyone is consciousness, and we're all influencing and affecting each other with our thoughts and our vibrations and our energy. Everything's manipulative, and when we can believe and understand that we are all consciousness, and what we put out, we will receive back if we put ourselves on that vibrational match to it. I think that's the difference between manifestation and goal setting. Goal setting is quite structured, it's quite masculine, and it's a way to really work towards and strive towards an outcome, which is great, and I think it's necessary. But manifestation is really about putting out the intention of a desired outcome and then allowing yourself to believe and trust that it's on its way to you. And so there's this slight unattachment that has to occur in order to bring that manifestation into reality. If you have a goal, typically those people that have goals are really, really fixated on them and really, really connected to them, and they really, really want to make the goals happen. Manifestation is slightly more feminine, I think, and it's a way to just like throw out an idea, throw out a thought, and then trust and believe that you are worthy of receiving it, and the universe is going to conspire to make it happen for you. And so there has to be this slight detachment that occurs with manifestation. If you're gripping something so tightly, there's no room for it to come in. And so you have to trust with the law of attraction that like there's room there for you to set intentions and allow them to come in divine timing.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also believe with manifestation, there is action that needs to happen. You can't just say, oh, I want to win $1 million and not take any action to help yourself become a millionaire. So they are similar, definitely.
Yeah, I think they're so similar. That's probably the thing that I get hung up on a little bit. Like, because I think even with goal setting and stuff, like you can't be super attached with the goal that you are trying to achieve. Like that is part of goal setting too. Like if I was doing that, but I think they're probably just different ways of like viewing it. I do agree that I think manifestation is a little bit more feminine, a little bit around like the energetics and stuff, whereas goal setting is probably the masculine equivalent, I suppose, but they kind of go hand in hand is my belief on it. The thing is that manifestation, probably what I'm getting at a little bit is that I really don't like when people sort of just go, oh, you can throw out a thought to the universe and like you said, but you don't take action to it. Like that's what manifestation gets a rap for, that like these days a lot of people believe that it's like, oh, okay, like I'm going to manifest that we'll use your example. I'm going to manifest I'm going to win $1 million, but you don't actually like talk about the steps or like how you're going to go about that or what you're going to do to actually achieve that. Like I think that's where it gets wishy-washy. It's like you're not going to receive back if you don't put in. Like universe is yin and yang. It's give and take. If you're not giving anything, then you're not going to be able to get anything back. And I think that's probably where people get a little bit lost with it as well. So it's probably why I'm making the link a little bit between manifestation and goal setting is that it isn't. I think people need to get away from the idea that manifestation is, all right, I'm going to set an intention, not do anything about it, and it's just going to happen. And I think that is the big thing that people do with like New Year's resolutions, which is why I wanted to bring that up. It's very much so that, okay, like I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to be healthier, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's like, okay, but then what are you actually doing to then start getting towards those manifestations?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I don't know, a bit of a rant on it, but it's just probably something that I think needs to be really clear.
Yeah, I think obviously when you do take action and you choose that you are going to shift or change your ways of being so that you can attract that outcome to you, that sends out a signal to the universe that they're serious about this manifestation because they are taking some action towards it.
Yeah.
And so you can't just say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and then not do anything. You absolutely still have to do stuff to get there. Like I had to be in Europe for that circumstance to occur.
Yeah.
And I had to go out of my comfort zone to meet these people to allow that experience to come into my reality. And I had to be open to receiving it. And then the funny thing that happened was when I was actually sailing on the yacht, there were moments in time on the first week where I was like, I can't believe this has happened. Like, am I really deserving of this? Like, I had these little thoughts pop up. And then as soon as that happened, it was correcting the thoughts and going, you absolutely deserve this. You set this intention, you put it out, and it's happened for a reason. And so that's another big thing that has to happen. Like you have to know your worth and know that you're deserving, because otherwise you will cancel it. If you're already having those thoughts before the manifestation or the goal has come into your reality of, I don't know if I actually deserve it, or I don't know if I'd actually be able to handle that much money, or I don't know if I actually will be able to hold down that relationship. Like if you're already having those thoughts of self-doubt before, it's going to cancel it with the universe and it won't come in.
Yeah, we've touched on it before, like it's the reticular activating system. Same thing. When your thoughts are on a certain thing, it's going to just attract that into your life. So if you have self-limiting beliefs around like I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve this, or like someone like me couldn't do that, like it's just not going to happen. And I know that's such a challenging concept for people because it's not about stopping those thoughts from coming in. It's just around like noticing it and then reframing it when that happens. So
yeah.
When that thought comes up, it's going like, no, I am worthy of this. Like, this is what I'm setting out to achieve. I can do this. If this person can do that, why can't I? Like, it's those sort of beliefs to bring in and to be able to talk about, you know?
Yeah, you can tell yourself these things though of like, oh no, I am worthy, but you actually have to feel worthy. That's the key. You've actually got to feel like you are worthy and deserving. And I think that was the moment when I was sailing that I realized I already feel worthy of this. Otherwise it wouldn't have come into my reality.
Yeah.
And so
I think you create those feelings of worthy though by starting off with like reframing it and telling yourself.
You reframe the thoughts and then eventually you begin to actually believe it.
But it's also why it's so important to like do the work, because doing the work creates the evidence within yourself to establish that you're worthy of that. So, you know, same thing that if you are trying to manifest, you know, a job or a raise or something like that, if you've been doing the work and the steps towards getting that raise, once you get it, you feel worthy of it. You've done the work. You're like, fucking oath, I deserve this. I've been doing everything behind the scenes, staying overtime, putting in extra hours into my study to level up and get to where I need to be. So I'm definitely worthy of this. So I think that's the thing with manifestation. Like you definitely want it to almost follow a little bit of like a goal setting framework at times, I think is handy. But that's probably the question I want to ask as well. Like, do you think goals need to be do you think manifestations need to be tangible, or can they be dream big sort of fantasies that are beyond probably what people think are capable? Tough question, I know, but
I think they can be both. I think you can have these really, really big, beautiful ideas, but you obviously still need to work towards them and make actionable steps to help you get there. And then I also think that the more tangible and the more explicit and the more honest that you can be with yourself about the goal or the manifestation that you want to bring in, the easier it will be to actually manifest it. Like I obviously am going to refer to the sailing experience because it was a huge manifestation that was just insane. I think I'd put out, I want to sail in Europe. Like I really want to sail in Europe. And when I was over there, obviously it's easier to manifest that because I'm already there. And so I also have other big manifestations, but in all honesty, I probably haven't started working hard enough to achieve them or acquire them yet. Like I still want to travel next year, but I haven't actually pinpointed where I want to go. I've got a whole range of different, you know, places and ideas, and I am probably still trying to manifest a lot more abundance than what I have right now, and I am working towards that, but I think I need to get clearer on what that will actually bring me and what I'll actually do with it when it does come in.
yeah, I think the thing that I want to link back a little bit to as well is, so I think tangible outcomes are important. So probably stay away from manifestations like I want to be happier or I want to be less sad, because the thing with like Europe and sailing on a yacht is it's tangible. Like when you got on the yacht, you've achieved the manifestation. Like it's ticked off. Whereas I want to be happier. It's like, oh, well, how do you actually know when you have become happier? Like what does that actually look like? And then once you start breaking that down, that's when that's going to occur. I think as well on the point of like, does it need to be tangible or can they be really big outcomes? I think what you said is really important, that the bigger the outcome and like the bigger and sort of far-fetched the dream is, whatever it is, I do believe that you can manifest it. But the hard part about it is the bigger it is, the more self-limiting beliefs are going to be attached to that. Like if my goal or my manifestation was to become the president, it's pretty hard to not have like some self-limiting beliefs within that of like, one, I don't live in America. Two, like, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff comes up. But if you actually could see that goal and you could really embody it, feel it, be in that, not have anything coming up saying that you couldn't do it, I would probably put a lot of money on that you would actually get there and achieve it. But the issue is that when it's really far-fetched and it's really beyond probably what some people think your capabilities are, it's hard to not have those self-limiting beliefs come in. And it's a real skill to be able to not allow that to come into your life, if that makes sense. So I feel like I'm not trying to tell anyone to, you know, don't dream big or don't like set your manifestations too high, but the more tangible they are and the more achievable they are, and when you can see a road to where they're going to be, there's going to be less sort of limitations in your mind of like if it's possible or not.
Absolutely. And I think another big thing that sort of unpacks people's manifestations from coming in is they change and they change their ideas and they're not clear on who they are and what they actually want. Like a lot of people will just say that they want something, but they don't know the why behind it.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know the why and you don't know how it's going to feel when that manifestation actually does come into your reality, it's going to be pretty hard to manifest that as well.
Yeah.
Like I knew that I had that admiration and desire for sailing from a young age. I knew that was part of something that I'd love because it brings a sense of freedom, joy, contentment, and peacefulness. And I'd already worked really hard in my life to embody those emotions on the day-to-day anyway. And so once you can actually embody and feel the sensations that would come with the manifestation occurring, you quantum leap completely. Like you shift through time and space when you're already feeling and embodying the emotions and sensations that will come once that manifestation comes into reality.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not. It has no concept of what's actually real and what's not. It's going off your frequency, your emotions, your sensations, and your physiology. So you got to feel it and believe it, and then it will come in.
Yeah, I think it's such an important step. That feeling is like one of the biggest parts to manifestation, in my opinion. When you can feel and embody it, it goes such a long way. Yeah,
but people that are numb to their emotions or haven't felt through the heavier stuff are going to really struggle to feel the expansion on the other side of it.
I think as well, it's probably important to touch on like rejection within like a manifestation as well. But yeah, well, I'm a big believer in like everything happens for a reason, as it probably you, and like power of the universe, a little bit like that. And I think with redirection, it's important to find that, rejection, it's important to find that it is just redirection. A lot of the time, like if the manifestation isn't occurring, it's because you probably don't actually believe that it is what you want, or it's not worthy to you. Like you're not actually feeling it. Like that's the only reason it's not going to occur. So often like we sort of get down on it, but there's also this sense of maybe like maybe this wasn't the right thing or whatever it is. And if you can have that approach and actually then deep dive into it of like, all right, why didn't this happen? What was my focus actually on? What's the self-limiting belief behind it? Maybe it's because you need to go do the work and you need to go within yourself and actually fix up some of those self-limiting beliefs or address something in your past that's stopping you from moving forward. Or maybe it is that you thought you wanted one thing, but really it was another thing. And that's what you actually really need to change. And often people will, they'll get rejected from something here and then achieve something here and go, yeah, I didn't actually really want what I was chasing over here now that I think about it. But I think that's an important one to remember too, that don't get too hung up on denial or whatever it is towards a manifestation, because often it's just leading you into another path and another space that is probably going to be more aligned to you.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Definitely. I think as well, we sort of touched on it a bit as well with the energetics of manifestation. So you spoke about feeling and whatnot, like raising your vibration stuff to sort of match that manifestation that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, so I think in order to understand that, you have to understand the quantum field. It's what we all live in. It's that concept that everything is energy, everything has a frequency. And in order to really pull in those manifestations, you have to be a match vibrationally. And so, that dream of becoming a millionaire, that has such a high vibration attached to it. It's really abundant. It's really expansive. And beneath that, it's like, okay, what emotions are associated with being a millionaire? And it's like, I'd feel this sense of freedom. I'd feel this sense of joy, I'd be absolutely ecstatic, whatever it is, whatever you believe you would feel from being a millionaire, you have to cultivate that and bring that in and make that part of your daily habitual status.
Yeah.
But then you have to actually think like, okay, well, why hasn't that happened already? And then more times than not, underneath that, there's those beliefs of like, from our childhood, from our conditioning, rich people are rude, rich people are selfish. Some people have these subconscious beliefs of if you're rich, you're unrelatable, and I want to be relatable to people. Or if you're rich, like you have to pay more taxes and I don't know how to do that. And there can be all these little subconscious blocks underneath being abundant. And I think it's really important to unpack those before you do get to that point, because you won't get there otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I talk about it sometimes as well, of like kind of trying to match like the identity of like what you're trying to become. Like
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, literally.
It's quite true.
It's quite, 100%. I think when, if it is something like wanting to become a millionaire or something like that, like, I don't know, look at like Russell Brand and have a look at like his habits and what he does daily and like what he embodies, what he wears. Like you can really go into those depths if you want to. And sometimes that can help you to raise vibration, get into the same feeling of what it's like. And yeah, it can be like such an important one. I'm obviously not saying lose yourself in all moral values and everything like that, but you can adopt the values associated to being a millionaire.
I think as well, like there's so much coming up for this. Like if you want to be different, you have to act different. And if you want to create your dream future, you have to stop being a victim of the past. Like anyone that's holding those stories of a victim mentality of, oh, woe is me, this happened to me, this is why I haven't been successful because they did this and I wasn't brought up that way. If you're carrying all of these self-limiting beliefs and this victim mentality of why you are the way you are, you're never going to change. You have to accept the past, heal through the past, have compassion and forgiveness for the past and what you went through, but then know that you have the potential to change your future and create your reality. We really are, bless you, we really are the creators of our own reality. It's just a mental shift that has to take place. So the first thing that you do in the morning when your subconscious is still super manipulative and able to be accessed, you have to automatically tell yourself, I love my life. I'm so grateful for my life. I love the world that I live in. I love how abundant I am. And then when you get into the bathroom, you can talk about, I love my body. My body is amazing. And this is creating new neural pathways in your brain to help you access the subconscious and bring in a totally new reality.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's such a big point to be able to change your beliefs about yourself to then attract in the beliefs that you want. It's probably one of the first steps for sure. I think have a look at like what your archetype is. A lot of people these days sit in like a bit of a slave archetype, and this isn't to trigger anyone, but maybe it is, and that's a good wake up call. But you know, if you think of slave archetype, it's very much around you are of service to other people, you are responsive to what they do, you sort of do what you're told, fit in line, not a lot of ambition. It's a lot around eating boring foods, dressing a certain way. If you're sitting in like an archetype like that, that's where you also need to identify, okay, like, am I being like this? And that could look like a slave to a job, working a 9 to 5, being this person that's stuck in that sort of locked in area.
The Matrix.
Yeah. And just kind of, you watched that the other night, eh?
I did.
Yeah. But just have a think about that. I think we've gone pretty deep on that now. And I do want to take it back a little bit. And I think it's a good thing. I hope people have had some takeaways from that and maybe a few little triggers to go, all right, mate, shit,
there's
maybe
a
I need
lot
to.
In there, and I actually encourage people to like rewind and re-listen to different parts because it's going to sink in and land differently every single time.
Yeah, definitely.
And
something will link.
It's one thing to hear this and listen to it, but you have to go away now and actually create this and embody this.
Yeah, 100%. It's such a big thing to be able to take it away and take the knowledge and actually action it. But I do want to come back to New Year's resolutions. It's obviously the first day of the new year. And I do want to sort of run through a little bit on how people can take what we've just said there and sort of integrate that a little bit into what they want in this new year. I think a good place to start is probably what me and you are wanting to get out of 2024. I might just leave it at one if we can, sort of your one main thing that you're trying to achieve, or just one of the things you're trying to achieve. It doesn't have to be your main thing.
Yeah.
I know sometimes as well people like to keep manifestations and stuff internal, and I'm very much also in the belief of that at times, that it doesn't have to be something that you share with other people. Like your dream is your dream, and sometimes when it's shared to everybody else, that's when you're going to allow in people to be able to go, oh, you can't do that or this, and you do start to believe that sometimes. So sometimes it is a bit easier just to keep it internal, so I don't want to put you under too much pressure with that.
No, that's all right. I'm happy to disclose, like, I've obviously gone through my first year in business and it's been such an incredible journey, but they always say the first year is the hardest. I'm actually 2 years in now. Next year will be my third year, but it really felt like 2023 was like the proper year of business, and I've learned so much through it. But I think moving forwards, I'm now getting to a point where I want to step back a little bit more from it and allow more people to come in to sort of take the ropes so I can step into more coaching. I'm actually a teacher, if people didn't know that. I've got a degree in teaching, and it's actually what I'm really passionate about, and teaching this, but with people that actually really want to learn and absorb it. And so sound healing is definitely still happening, don't worry, but I'm probably going to onboard a few people just to take over some weekly sessions so I can step back and step more into coaching and holding space for people on a more intimate level and really getting people to unpack their own subconscious beliefs to dig a bit deeper.
Yeah,
and so yeah, I've got this 12-week course beginning at the end of January. It's called Reset and Reclaim, and it's 12 weeks over Zoom with a few integration weeks in between. But I'm essentially offering life coaching for any woman that would like to join. You've got one last chance to get in. We start on the last week of January, and it's going to be packed full of embodiment techniques, formulas, all of the nitty-gritty stuff that I've touched on today, but in a much deeper level. And there'll be lots of guided meditations, beautiful ways to subliminally program the mind, and it's going to be powerful. 12 weeks of life transformational coaching with me. So yeah, reach out if you're interested in it. It's almost full. So there's only a few spots left. But I'm really excited to step more into that next year and maybe do some travel as well.
Nice.
What about you, bro? What's coming up?
So for 2024, I think probably one of my big things at the moment is I definitely want to really kick this podcast into overdrive. So we do have some exciting things coming up in terms of a couple of new sort of shows under the What's Wellness banner. So that'll be coming in. I think you're going to be doing your own one as well. You might not know that, or you might already, but that's kind of the vision at the moment. So more content from us, which is going to be really cool. I think you guys are going to really enjoy the ideas that are coming through as well. And I kind of want to break that down a little bit too, just so you kind of do have a bit of a framework out there as well if you are setting your own intentions for 2024. So I guess a little bit of an insight for me is just around when you have your intention set, just like I've had mine now, I think it's really important to put things on a bit of a timeline and figure out when it is that you want to achieve it. And then break that goal down into smaller goals. It might be monthly goals as well. And then break those monthly goals down into weekly goals, and then break it into daily habits that you need to achieve that goal. And I think that is such a big step for your New Year's resolution. So if it is, I want to lose weight, or I want to make $100,000 profit this year, put that goal at the end of the year and then start working it back into, okay, what do I need to do tomorrow to achieve that? And then tick that off. What do I need to do the next day to achieve that? Tick it off. What do I have to do by the end of this week? What do I have to do by the end of this month? And when you do that, it makes a big goal so much more easier to obtain, because it's just little goals that you just have to tick off each and every day, and then you'll end up getting to where you need to be. So it's a little bit of an insight from me. Not just like Sanchia, I have a 12-week course coming out as well called The Masculine Formula, where we will be doing a whole bunch of stuff around goal setting, especially getting back into the masculine, establishing emotional regulation, getting rid of self-limiting bliss, all the good stuff in there as well. So it's going to be super powerful, especially for men. I think a lot of the time we as men don't invest in ourselves in the wellness category enough. And it's really something that I want to get on top of, and something that I'm super passionate about as well. So if you are having some struggles with your 2024 resolutions, we've provided a couple of options here today that could be cool. So go and explore them. It'll all be on the What's Wellness podcast Instagram, and also on our website.
Yeah, I think linking back again to the whole topic of today about manifestation, it's important to recognize that your dream reality is not going to be created unless you do the work to unpack the things that are holding you back.
Yeah.
Like both you and I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on ourselves and our own personal development and healing work. And that is the only reason why we're able to show up here today. We're comfortable with being seen and heard. We're comfortable with putting our thoughts and our ideas out there now. But 2 years ago, this would have freaked me out completely. I would have been terrified to come on a camera and talk and speak my truth. And so I think we really are the representation of what can be achieved when you do actually do the work and you work on yourself to get there.
Yeah, I think on that as well, it's so important to know that with anything in life, I said it before, but it's all yin and yang. You can't get anything without putting anything or giving something up. You think about a wishing well and the concept of what that is. Like, you've got to flick in a penny to be able to get your wish, supposedly. And
Absolutely.
that's always been a thing for life. Like, you have to put some sort of investment in to be able to get something back for yourself. And that's anything. It could be like, in Disney movies or stuff like that, you see it all the time where it's like, oh, you've got to give up the apple to get the message or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's the same in life. Like, you've got to at times pay to be able to get the information back in. Or you've got to be able to pay with the experiences and the pain to then be able to get the learnings out. That's just how it is.
Yeah, you just quantum leap so much when you finally invest in yourself, because you have someone guiding you and helping you quantum leap and shift through the shit that you need to get through. This was the first year I invested in a business coach, and I wasn't going to share it, but I think it's exciting to share it. The business this year cracked 6 figures the year's not even over right now when we're recording this. And so that only happened because I invested in a business coach and I invested in myself this year. And that helped me to quantum leap and really open up and allow things to shift and change so I could receive that amount of money and abundance. So we are big believers in investing in yourself, and we feel ready now to offer you guys that help that you need. If you relate to us, you like our teaching, and you want to dig deeper next year, we're here to support you guys.
This year, 2024, set some intentions, get going. Yeah, I know the pre-recording's a little bit messy on it, but we hope you've all enjoyed this episode. Manifestation is such a big thing, and I don't think we should go away from it at the start of the year, but I would also recognize that you can start to manifest and start to goal set at any point. But we're very welcome to have had you all here. So we appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
See you later, guys.
Bye.